I'm about to have a funeral for the first time in The Sims 4, and it's both like really exciting but also really sad because I love that sim so much. I'm hoping that the funeral home, the cemetery that I've got here, and being able to have a funeral for her will just be a really nice ending of her chapter. Hi, hey, hello, my name is Sarah and welcome to a Sims 4 cemetery speed build. Now that we have life and death and cemeteries are actually available to be built, I decided it was time for me to build a cemetery to suit my gameplay needs. Specifically, I've been playing the 100 Baby Challenge and now the OCCULT Baby Challenge, and through that I've kind of created a legacy without actually playing a legacy challenge. So I decided that I wanted to make a massive cemetery that kind of suited a legacy gameplay. So if you're playing a legacy, you need a cemetery to store all of your dead relatives. I'm sorry, that's really morbid, but it's true. If you need a massive cemetery, I've got one that I've built for you today. So with that being said, let's jump into The Sims 4. Let's check out the speed build. So we are here in Ravenwood on the lot that the cemetery in Ravenwood is on. I've just demolished that lot and we're building a cemetery on that same lot. Just because it's like the biggest lot that comes with Ravenwood. Like I said, I wanted this to be massive. You're seeing by the fence, I'm planning on using this entire lot, and I definitely do use this entire lot. So as well as being a place to store graves and like have mausoleums and stuff, I did also want there to be a funeral home as well, where you can actually conduct funerals for your Sims. So that's what I'm currently building right now. I do have an inspiration picture, which I will chuck up somewhere on the screen right now, for the building that I am currently building. That being said, I'm not a very confident builder. I would say that I'm a competent builder, but I'm not confident, and you'll be seeing that throughout this entire building that I'm doing here. Just little things that have gone wrong and me trying to fix them, it takes a little while. And even the octagonal room that we've got there with the roofing, that took forever. Anyway, it's fine. I get there in the end, and this is what I mean by I'm a competent builder but not a confident builder. I will get there in the end, and it's just going to take me a really long time to figure it out. So with that being said, the picture that I've got here, I was trying to build this building inspired by the photo. Obviously I can't make it the exact same, and also I do have to say I want this building to be very black, and as a matter of fact, a lot of this cemetery ends up being black and kind of gothic looking, but then we do have a lot of greenery as well, so it's almost like life and death in this cemetery, with the black of death but also the lush green of life. And it's just kind of a nice little metaphor that I thought of while I was making this speed build. It's like, oh, that's just very, very nice. So I did want this little building to be kind of gothic looking. We do have a lot of black elements on there, and then some of the decorative elements that we have through life and death that I was able to use to make this look very kind of ye old. You'll be seeing this roof decoration that I've just like alt placed on the wall. That kind of just tied it all together. I was really unsure how I was actually going to decorate this build, like on the outside, and then when I saw that and I was able to alt place that, it just chef's kiss came together so beautifully. So now we are on the inside though, and you do see I do have a small platform. This is where we're gonna have the casket inside the funeral home, and we're going to have like the memorial display. We're going to have the podium for guests to speak at or for people to give eulogies at. With that being said, as I am filming this video right now, I haven't even had a funeral in The Sims 4 yet. I'm about to, which is why I am making this video right now. The last child of my 100 Baby Challenge is now the matriarch of my OCCULT Baby Challenge. Her mum, which is the second matriarch of my 100 Baby Challenge, is actually about to pass away. I'm about to film that video, so that's what inspired me to build this funeral home and cemetery anyway to begin with, is because I'm about to have a funeral for the first time in The Sims 4, and it's both like really exciting but also really sad because I love that sim so much, and I've spent so many, like countless hours with that sim and raising kids for her, and it's kind of sad to see her go. But I'm hoping that the funeral home, the cemetery that I've got here, and being able to have a funeral for her will just be a really nice ending of her chapter. So I have done some of the basic indoor decorating. We've got some basic essentials that you need for a funeral happening there. I'm just putting putting in some chairs now, but I was also having a look at some of the things that I felt I needed to just include in a cemetery anyway to start ticking off some of the requirements, like having a mausoleum, having some grave sites, all of those things that are kind of essential to having a cemetery to begin with. So also I will just apologize if you were not looking for having a gothic looking cemetery. I mean, you can just change the color swatches. I feel like the rest of it is totally fine. If you just don't want it to be dark and black, just change the color swatches, because my sim, who I'm about to have a funeral for, was very gothic, and so it just kind of makes sense for this to be the ending of her chapter, for the ending of her story, to be in this very gothic looking building. And with that being said, I'm not saying that death in itself has to be sad and depressing and gloomy looking. I'm also not saying that gothic people or goth in general has to be all about sad. I just personally like the look of this all black with the cast iron windows and all of that. I really like that look. I feel like it fits very nicely in a cemetery, so that's just why I have made these decisions. Also to honor the sim that I'm about to have a funeral for as well. But we are on the outside now. You'll see I've got a couple of mausoleums here. I did also place some restrooms over by the gates, and this was where I was struggling, right? Because I knew exactly what I wanted the funeral home to look like with the inspiration pic that we saw, but then there's so much room left on this lot, and I had to figure out how I was going to lay out this entire cemetery. So I knew that I wanted to have some mausoleums. I knew that I wanted to have a lot of graves, but where was I going to put them? Like there's a lot of space. And so trying to figure it out, I decided to go very slowly and kind of do it one side at a time. So I started with my mausoleums. I do have 4 mausoleums on this lot because I would kind of like to have one of the matriarchs, because I had 2 matriarchs of the 100 baby challenge. I'd kind of like both of them to be in a mausoleum because that's like the big fancy building. I know that in The Sims 4 you can have multiple Sims in a mausoleum, just like in real life, right? But I think it's 20 urns that you can put into a mausoleum to store the urn, right? So I know that that's what they're used for in The Sims 4, but the mausoleum in this cemetery for me and my purposes was very much about celebrating the matriarchs of my 100 baby challenge and their partners as well, because they both did end up having partners. So once I got the mausoleums in and sorted out, I then tentatively started placing some grave sites. And once I got started and once I figured out the placements of them and I figured out the pathways that I was going to be using, which by the way are all terrain paths. I didn't use any paths from packs or anything. It's all terrain tools for the pathways and obviously for the garden beds that I'm putting in right now as well. So once I got this part sorted, once I put the garden beds in and got that sorted, it just all came together, and I was all of a sudden not stressed anymore about how I was going to lay out this cemetery, because it did just all come together so quickly after this. So with that being said, now I am going to mention I did try my absolute best to make this a limited pack build. You obviously do need to have life and death in order to have a cemetery, in order to be able to have funerals. You need to have life and death, so that's a requirement. The other packs that I used are kind of just like you could substitute for things from the base game if you don't have the packs. So I did use the vampires pack for some of the trees we're gonna see and a couple of little decor bits and bobs, so you could easily substitute those trees for other trees, and any decor that I used you could sub for other decor from the base game. And then I did also use the romantic garden stuff pack because it has a lot of gothic elements that I was looking to use. Again, that's all just decor, and you could easily sub that stuff for anything else that comes with the base game. Like the fountain, we've got plenty of fountains in the base game that you could choose from, so totally fine. These lamps that I'm currently putting in are also from romantic garden stuff pack, but we do have other lamps that you could use in the base game to light up at nighttime, so that's totally fine. And then there is one more pack that I used that I don't think actually gets shown in the list, and that is, I can't remember, it's one of the kits, the luxury kit. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know, I'll put the title on screen somewhere, but I used that specifically for one floor tile that I used on the ceiling on the inside of the funeral home. So if you don't have that pack, you could easily just change the ceiling of the funeral home to something else that is base game available. So I do feel like even though I used a few packs, I used 3 extra packs total, it's still very limited pack build, and all of the things that I did use from packs would easily be substituted with things from the base game. So I've done the one side, as you can see. Now I'm kind of trying to lay out the middle of the lot. So I wanted to have a mix of these fancier like concrete grave sites, and then also have some of the basic wooden grave sites as well. I feel like that's kind of realistic. Like, I feel like the wooden ones are for perhaps people of a not so wealthy socio-economic stature, whereas the concrete ones maybe are for more of the wealthier social economic stature families. So I feel like it's kind of realistic to see a mixture in real life of these more fancier sites and not so fancy sites as well. And so I wanted to have a mixture of them for you guys as well. For me, in my gameplay, I'm probably just going to change them all out for the concrete ones because that's what I want for me. At the moment, what you are seeing, I've made available for all of you. You can make changes as you see fit. We have done a big jump though, and you'll see now I've laid out the entire cemetery. The entire cemetery is full of grave sites, and oh my goodness, the speed build is actually over. I thought I had a little bit more time than that. Anyway, that's fine. It took me about 6 hours to build this cemetery between me umming and ahhing over the layout and all of that. It did take its time, so I did cut out a lot from that speed build so that it would be a little bit easier for you to see. With that being said, you haven't seen the completed lot, and what you've seen has been like very quick. So I would like to give you a detailed tour of this cemetery. So with that being said, let's jump into The Sims 4 and let's take a visit of the Platt Legacy Cemetery. Hey, did you know that 74% of you watching right now are not subscribed to my channel? If you'd like to see some fun Sims 4 Creator Sim videos, some fun Sims 4 build videos, some Sims 4 gameplay, and even some gameplay of The Sims past, then hit the subscribe button down below and join my community of Triceratops. But with that being said, let's get back to the video. So like I mentioned, we did build this in Ravenwood, and the cemetery lot that is down as a part of Crow's Crossing. This is the cemetery lot here, and you can see, oh my goodness, how good does it look? It looks so good from the map. Oh wow. Alright, so I wanted to give you kind of an aerial view to begin with. So this is our cemetery lot. One thing I completely forgot to mention in the speed build because I ran out of time is I wanted to try to have 100 graves, right? One for each kid of my 100 baby challenge, and then with the mausoleums you can obviously fit more Sims than that. While I was building, I really wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to fit 100 graves, but we did. We have 100 grave sites in this cemetery. So this is why I'm calling it a legacy cemetery, because it is perfect for all of your legacy gameplay, like your generations of Sims in your legacy challenges. This is perfect for you. I've got you. So with that being said, we do have the gates down over by the edges of the lot that have the roads connected to them. I wanted to keep that accurate and have the gates there with these beautiful romantic garden stuff archways. Fantastic. So when you come in through this gate here, I mean, this is kind of what you see. You just see like rows and rows and trees, and there's the funeral home over there that actually looks really, really pretty. To the left, we do have this little pond that does have some ducks and some fireflies in there, and then we do have some restrooms right here as well. We do have 2 lots of restrooms that should be functional. I say should because I actually haven't play tested this lot yet. Like I said, I've never had a funeral or anything before. I'm about to, so I'll be able to insert a clip right now to let you know if this lot is actually functional. Oh my gosh, look at my duckies! My duckies in the pond, they're floating above the pond. Just pretend that they're floating in the pond, please. Well, so far I'm very happy to report this does appear to be functional. Thanks, future me. So with that being said, we do have this side over here, which is what you saw the majority of in the speed build. This is what I built in the speed build with you guys. This has a lesser amount on this side of grave sites just because we had to factor in the entrance to the lot. So we do also have a lot of the wooden grave sites over here. We do have another toilet block, another restroom area. I forgot to put some bushes. That little line of soil right there is supposed to have these little green hedges that I've got on the ends. I'm supposed to put them in there. No worries, it's fine. Did I mention that it took me 6 hours to build this lot? Anyway, over this side, we've got way more because I didn't have to factor in the gate. So we've got heaps more of the grave sites over this side. I just kind of wanted them to look very similar. So we've got the 4 mausoleums over in the corners, and then we do have all of our grave sites. We do have these caskets as well. Caskets, coffins. Someone has told me the difference in the comments before. I can't remember which one is a casket and which one is a coffin. I think the coffins are the ones that are more angled to fit the body shape, whereas the caskets are these ones. I think. What I'm saying about these though is these are the ones that your Sims can sleep in. So if you're maybe playing a rags to riches and you want somewhere to sleep and you want somewhere to like use a restroom, I've got you covered for that at least. So you can sleep in these caskets if you like. They were a required item. It was required to have one of them on this lot, so I put 3 in. So with that being said, let's come and take a look at my beautiful funeral home. I do love this building. The little ivy pieces and the wall decoration that I've got here above the doors and the windows. I mean, that's supposed to be a roof decoration piece, but it just fits so beautifully above the doors and the windows there. Freaking perfect, and I love it. So with that being said, I do have some of these cannons that are a part of the funeral service. I haven't used them before. Maybe I'll use them when I play through this lot. Anyway, we do have a beautiful fountain, but let's go and take a look inside. And this is what you see when you walk through the door. So we do have our little platform, like I said, with the podium for people to give eulogies at, the little memorial stand, and we do have the casket there for the sim whose funeral you would be attending. And then we do have these rows of seats. I have 12 seats here because I think you can invite 15 guests maximum, so the majority of them would be seating. We do have some standing area though as well. And then at the back on these desks, it's not functional, but I kind of made a pretend like guest book area. Like, I very recently went to a funeral myself in real life. It was literally last week, and I had never been to one outside of a family member, and so I signed the guest book because I was a guest at the funeral. So I've got one on each side to kind of make it look like we've got 2 different guest books for the guests at the funeral to sign their name. I really like the dark vibes. That's just me personally. I know that generally you would want light and bright in a funeral home because the thought of a funeral can be a dark topic for a lot of people. So I know you would like to generally have it be light and bright, but I think this is beautiful and it very much suits my needs. Like I said, if you don't particularly like the darkness of it, you could just easily change the swatches on everything. So yes, with that being said, that is my funeral home and cemetery. If you would like to download it for yourself, it will be on the gallery. My gallery ID is sezrawrr, the exact same way it's spelled here, and you will find it under Platt Legacy Cemetery. I called it that because the Platt family is the family that I'm using in my 100 baby challenge and occult baby challenge, and they are the reason why I built this to begin with. So the Platt Legacy Cemetery, because it is suitable for legacy gameplay, and obviously it is a cemetery. I did use vampires like I mentioned, but it's all just like landscaping and the pedestals that I've got the statues on in the funeral home. And then we did use romantic garden stuff, which again is just all of this stuff that could easily be replaced with things from the base game, and that one kit that doesn't get listed because I only used it as a ceiling tile, so it just doesn't get listed apparently. So with that being said, that will be on the gallery right now for you to download if you would like to use it to suit your legacy gameplay needs, or if you would just like to have it as a part of your games regardless of whether you're playing legacy or not. But with that being said, you guys, that's all I've got for this video of building a cemetery in The Sims 4 that's very suitable for a legacy style gameplay. If you would like to see more of me and any other Sims builds that I've got coming your way, or any other Sims content that I've got coming your way, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell next to it to be notified of every time that I upload. And if you liked this video, let me know by hitting the like button down below and leave me a comment as well. Leave me the tombstone emoji. I'm pretty sure it's a tombstone. Anyway, leave me the tombstone emoji in the comments down below to let me know that you made it this far in the video, you enjoyed watching this cemetery come to life? Come to death. And that you would like to see more builds from me in the future. But with that being said, you guys, I hope you're having the greatest day ever, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!